So today, I'd like to share what happened when I personally stopped trying to be better. So we're nearly at the end of January already. Where did that go? And I want to ask you something. How are you doing? Not the polite fine thanks version, but the real version. So did you stick to your New Year goals? Did you transform into that new version of yourself everyone was promising you could become by now? Or did you not? Did you still find yourself tired and still moving slow? Still not feeling particularly motivated to overhaul your entire life in the middle of winter? If so, well, let me tell you something. Something very important. You're not failing, you're listening. You see, during the month of January, everyone else was hustling hard. And I don't know about you, but my feed has been full of it. The challenges, the winning streaks, the before and the afters, the declarations of transformation, everyone becoming more disciplined, more productive, more optimized, everyone crushing their goals, building empires, rising at 5 a.m. to meditate and take an ice bath before work. And maybe you tried some of it. Maybe you set intentions, maybe you downloaded a new app or bought a new journal or promised yourself that, you know what, this year's going to be different. Maybe you didn't make any of those promises to yourself. Maybe you looked at all of it and thought, I just can't. Right now, no, not like this. Maybe you felt guilty about feeling that, like you were lazy or unmotivated or not committed enough to yourself and to your growth. But what if I told you that reluctance wasn't actually a problem? What if I told you that reluctance is actually a deep wisdom? You see, here's what I've learned with my work with women for over 15 years now. Your body, it knows before your mind even catches up. Your body knows that January isn't the time for big transformation. Winter is for rest, not reinvention. And trying to force growth is like trying to grow seeds in frozen ground. You see, your system, it's asking for warmth and stillness and presence, for ordinary moments done with your full attention, for permission to be exactly where you are without needing to become someone else. And if you listen to that even a little bit, then you are doing the actual work. Because here's what nobody tells you about transformation. You see, it doesn't come from pushing. It comes from presence. It comes from learning to be with yourself just as you are, not as you think you should be. Now, maybe this month you didn't overhaul your life. Maybe you didn't become a new version of yourself. Maybe you noticed your tea and it tasted better when you paid attention to it. Maybe you caught yourself shoulding all over yourself and then you chose differently just once. Maybe you felt your feet on the floor and you realised in that moment you were holding your breath. Maybe you gave yourself permission to rest on New Year's Eve instead of forcing a midnight celebration. Maybe you chose one ordinary moment each day to just be present, to just be here, to feel the warm water on your hands, to notice the winter light and how it's changed, to sweep your floor and actually experience it instead of thinking of 1,700 things that are on your to-do list. These little things, they're not small at all. They're actually everything. Because this is how your nervous system learns that it's actually safe to slow down. This is how you remember what it feels like to be in your own body instead of constantly running and trying to escape it. This is how real change begins, not with force, but with presence. Take a moment and consider what February might bring. We're nearly at the end of January and February's coming. The light is returning just a little, very slowly, every day. The day's getting just a little bit longer. But spring isn't here yet. But perhaps you're starting to feel the gentle shift towards it. Here's what I've noticed. When you spend January resting instead of forcing, when you honour the season instead of fighting it, something interesting happens. You arrive in February with capacity, with energy, with space. Not because you pushed through, but because you didn't push through. Not because you transformed yourself into someone better, but because you gave yourself permission to be just who you are. And from that place, from rest, from presence, from actually having capacity, that's where real growth becomes possible. Not forced, not effortful, but natural. Like seeds that have been resting in the dark soil, waiting for the right conditions to grow. So let me share with you what I've learned being the woman who stands against New Year, New You noise every single January. It's not popular, it's not what people want to hear in the first week of January or even the second week of January as everyone's buzzing with motivation and possibility. But by the end of January, by now, women start telling me, Nat, you were right. My body needed rest, not another challenge. I needed permission, not pressure. And here's what I know after all of these years. The women who honour the season, the women who rest in winter, the women who wait patiently for spring to plant the new seeds, these are the women who create sustainable change. It's not a boom and bust cycle, not the January enthusiasm that fizzles out by February, but real lasting transformation that doesn't require them to abandon themselves in the process. That's what happens when you stop trying to be better and you start being present. So here's this week's Rebel moment. As we close out January, I want to give you one final invitation. Look back over the month, not with judgment, but with a sense of curiosity. And then think about it. What did you learn about yourself? What did your body ask for? What moments of presence did you find, even briefly? And what do you want to carry forward into February? Not what you should do, not what everyone else is doing, but what you actually choose from your heart of hearts. You might even want to write it down somewhere just for you. Not a goal, not a commitment, not another thing to achieve, but just a gentle, loving reminder of what matters to you before life gets in the way, of what you're learning to honour, of the season you're in and the woman you're becoming, not through force, but through presence. So tell me, what did January teach you? I'd love to hear what you're carrying forward into February. Drop it in the comments below. You never know, you might inspire someone else. So if you're loving these little videos, hit subscribe, strike the bell so you don't miss a thing. And now that February is coming, and with it all the new possibilities, not the forced kind, the natural kind, the kind that emerges when you've actually rested, well, I invite you to watch this space. So I shall see you next week. And until then, from my heart to yours, stay blessed.